Buenas, clase. ¿Cómo están? In today's video, we're going to learn how to conjugate regular ER verbs in the present tense. ER verbs? That's right. You probably already remember that we have AR verbs. We also have ER verbs. We're going to learn how to conjugate them in the present tense. The present tense means right now. Are you ready? Let's do it right now. Spanish has three categories or kinds of infinitives. We have AR verbs. Those are the ones that we usually start learning first in Spanish. ERs and IRs, comer, for example, to eat. Beber, for example, to drink. And also there are IR verbs, a third category. How do we know what kind of a verb it is? We look at the ending. AR verbs end in AR. You can tell the grammar heads spent all night thinking about that one. ER verbs end in ER. IR verbs end in IR. So we don't need the AR verbs and we don't need the IR verbs for this video. Let's just concentrate on comer, to eat, beber, to drink. You probably remember that conjugating an infinitive means messing around with the endings so that we know who is doing something and when. In this case, it's the present. Let's work with the infinitive beber, which means to drink. You might remember that in English, when we conjugate a verb, we start by removing the infinitive marker, the little word to in front of to drink. In Spanish, we start by removing the infinitive marker also, but it's not a separate word, it's part of the word. It's the ER at the end. We don't need it, so we'll take it away. In English, when you take away the to, you have a word left over, a real word, drink. But in Spanish, when you take away the ER, what you have left is not a real word. We need to add endings to make it into a real word. So here they are. Yo, the ending is o, es, e for él, ella, usted, hemos for nosotros and nosotras, eis for vosotros and vosotras, and en for ellos, ellas, y ustedes. And then to make a real word, we just take what we have here. Bebo, I drink. Bebes, you drink. Bebe means he drinks, she drinks, and you, when we're being formal and polite, drink. Nosotros y nosotras bebemos. Vosotros, vosotras bebéis. Ellos, ellas y ustedes beben. This is what's called a regular verb, meaning that you apply these rules and it works. Most verbs in Spanish, fortunately, are regular, so we can apply these rules to lots of places. Let's review what we did in this really short video. We learned how to conjugate regular present ER verbs. We know that regular means a verb that follows the rules. Present means something that happens now. ER is one of three kinds of verbs in Spanish. The other two are AR and IR. To conjugate, we start by removing the ER. What's left isn't a real word, so we need to add endings, and you know what they are. It's a good idea when we study these to look for patterns in the endings. You'll see that for AR and ER verbs, for example, they both have O for the yo form, and when you learn IRs, you'll see that the yo form also has an O. So as you work, pay attention to patterns. Looking for patterns can be very helpful for you. What else will be helpful is all the practice that we're going to do in class. And speaking of class, that's where we will see each other next. So, hasta la próxima clase. Adiós.